Straight Line is brought to you in part by the Toledo Clinic ENT, specializing in allergy, nasal, and sinus care.
You're watching Straight Line with Dan Rogers, President and CEO of Cherry Street Mission Ministries.
Welcome to Straight Line, and my name is Delray Bush. Today we're going to be discussing philanthropy with one of my favorite people at Cherry Street Mission, Linda Cunning.
Yeah, Linda Cunning is our Vice President of Philanthropy. She'll be with us the entire show to chat with us about what's more important at Cherry Street, money, wealth, or people.
And we're a people organization.
We are 100% a people organization. That is correct.
What does that mean for us when we say those words? I mean, it's easy to say, you know, we're a people organization, but how does that work? If we're saying, you know, it does help to have money, but why do we say we're a people organization?
Well, you know, I always play off of the Good Samaritan, you know, who stopped, dismounted, tore his clothes to provide bandages, poured the wine, poured the oil, and made sure that the trouble that this fellow was facing had a chance for recovery. If you follow that parable, Delray, money was the last thing that the Good Samaritan did before departing. And I believe that's the role of money. So people matter, as is related in the Good Samaritan parable.
So when we're talking people, we're not just talking our guests. We're talking our donors, our volunteers, our staff members. How do they all play into this, to what we do at Cherry Street? And of course, how does Linda play into what we're talking about today?
Well, I think one of the things you're going to hear today is that, you know, Cherry Street determines to be a people organization by being a message-driven organization. We're going to talk a lot about that when Linda gets on stage this afternoon. But you know, the reality is that when we say that people matter, we do mean our guests, our staff, our volunteers, our donors. And can I just say something to you? You know, philanthropy isn't just about money. You know, philanthropy is really about relationships. You know, it's about how does God connect relationships to other relationships. Cherry Street, in its simplest form, is a relationship connector.
I'm really excited because I think Linda will have some great stories about some donors that she's come in contact with that maybe had Cherry Street change their lives.
Yeah, and I think she'll also tell us maybe a story of how a donor changed her life.
Isn't that amazing?
How God moves through people as they became and become sacrificial, as they become courageous in the way that they and the way that we all give. It takes a lot of bravery. And that bravery and courage to stand in the gap for others is always inspirational.
I heard you say message center.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, one of the things we'll talk with Linda about is Cherry Street doesn't really raise money as much as we raise message. What is God doing and how are we communicating what God is doing? As part of that message, you help us every day stand in the gap for people's lives, in the worst time of their lives, mostly in the fire and the hell of their lives. Take a look.
Imagine being tossed into hell. Imagine standing there. Imagine the heat of it, the flame of it, the worry of it. Now imagine someone is standing right beside you because they are. And you know they're not there for any other reason than you. That is Cherry Street Mission Ministries. We stand in the hell of other people's choosing on purpose.
Isn't that great to know? You help members of our team, volunteers, donors, guests, staff, everybody associated with Cherry Street, including yourself. You help us stand in the fire in the worst places of people's lives. And isn't that what God has done for you for years, maybe even for the last 5 minutes? He comes and stands. You know, can I just say something? You may be going through a very, very difficult time today as you watch this broadcast. You may be thinking, man, I'm at the lowest time of my income. I'm at the lowest time of housing. I'm at the lowest time of relationships. Maybe you're suffering through changing churches or being in a new church or being in a new surrounding. You know, it's very, very easy to associate that and some disconnect. Can I encourage you today? Don't be disconnected from what is going on in your life, but also be encouraged by the fact that God is right there with you. He doesn't drag you out of the hell that you're going through and then stand with you. Actually comes in to hell and stands with you. And there, from that relationship, he does dynamic things. Today's guest has a lot of that experience in her own life as a single mom, as somebody that has stood the gap and stood the test of time, and is now the Vice President of Philanthropy at Cherry Street Mission Ministries. Linda Cunning, thank you so much for being a part of the dynamic thing that God is doing at Cherry Street and for being on the show today.
I am honored both to be here and to be able to work at Cherry Street Mission Ministries. There is no place like Cherry Street, and I love it.
Yeah, why is that?
Well,
How can you say that so confidently, that there's no place like Cherry Street?
there really isn't, because I know you mentioned with Delray that we are a message-driven organization, and that is a totally different atmosphere. You know, I've worked for government agencies, and they are so money-driven, and it's so heavy and so downtrodden when you work for that type of philosophy. So when you come in with the gospel of Jesus Christ as the center and the focus, oh my goodness, it just makes a world of difference.
Yeah, no question. Well, Linda, you've been with Cherry Street for how long now?
Wow, 5 years.
About 5 years. You came out of the government sector. As a matter of fact, the state of Ohio paid you to teach nonprofits about fiscal responsibility. You've got a great background in helping people, but you also have kids. You're a Toledo girl, right?
That's right.
Tell us about your upbringing and Toledo and you.
Well, I have to say that when I was a little girl and I was with my mother, around 5 years old, I was watching The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
And I have to tell the story because it really does show how I love my title, Vice President of Philanthropy. Because at 5 years old, my mom and I were watching TV, and we're watching how the Tin Man was talking to the Wizard of Oz, and
Now, is this your mom and you?
This is me and my mother.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm sucking my thumb. I was a thumb sucker.
There are worse
Anyways,
things.
okay. Anyways, I told my mom, he's trying to say a word because the wizard was saying, you know, there's great men and they do phila good deed doers.
Yes.
And I said, Mom, what's he trying to say?
Yeah, he never got the word out.
He didn't know how to say it, and he said philanthropist. And I said, that's what I want to be when I grow up. And sure enough, here I am. I'm the Vice President of Philanthropy at Cherry Street.
No kidding. How old do you think you were about that time?
I was 5 years old.
5 years old.
In fact, that picture was when I was
Okay,
5.
now just 6 or 7 years later, here you are.
Yeah.
The Vice President of Philanthropy.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, Toledo born and raised, and I have raised 2 fantastic children. They're both adults and away from home now. Yeah, I love Toledo.
What's fantastic? They're adults or that they're away from home?
Both.
Okay. Is
You
that
know,
it?
as you know, a single mom, it's a lot of work.
It is, of course. Parenting is the most dynamic thing I think a human will ever do.
That's right, and I purposely parented. So
Now, what does that mean?
I made sure that I didn't just let my children run amok, and also I didn't keep my parenting style the same. So as my children grew, I asked the Holy Spirit, just lead me in how I can lead my children.
Okay.
And they have grown up to be wonderful adults, and I really believe in purposeful parenting.
Well, I have met and know both of your children, and as adults, of course, they are definitely a result of your active parenting, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Well, good. Well, Linda, at Cherry Street, one of the things I really would really appreciate if you help our viewers understand the way that we orient ourselves around, raising money. And I have to put it in air quotes because we don't talk like that at Cherry Street. But, so that you, the viewer, understand, Cherry Street is a privately funded organization. We do not receive any government dollars. You, the viewer, and longtime supporter have completely depended on us to stay private. We do that because of the gospel of Jesus Christ. We must not be prohibited in any way. That's why the cross is still centric to our logo. Yes. It is not just a symbol for us, Linda. It is a way of being at Cherry Street. We are very gospel-centric,
yes,
of course. And the funding has to support our gospel centricity. And so we go to moms and dads all around the community, just like I am and my wife are, and we solicit support. Now, that's about as far as it goes when we talk about fundraising, but that's not really how we orient our work. Talk to us about that. How do you, as a fundraiser, stay centric to the gospel and not make money the thing that you do every day?
Right. Well, we start with our mission. So our mission, the first line in our mission is we serve all.
Yes.
So our community sometimes doesn't realize that when I am out in the community, I am serving you. I am a minister of the gospel serving our community. So as we have advocates for our guests that we serve at the shelter and in our different places, I am an advocate for our community. So I serve especially people one-on-one is I absolutely adore to serve people in our community. By the way, Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan are some of the kindest, generous,
no question,
wonderful people to work with.
Yeah, I mean, this community is uber engaged.
Yeah, I've traveled all over. I've never found such wonderful people.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
So because of that, we are a message driven. So we serve people through our message. So I would meet with someone and I'm going to talk about what we do. And then really I want to be led by God as far as how does this person fit within what we're doing. So that may be they may need to volunteer. Maybe God's putting on their heart to donate some type of an in-kind donation.
Yes.
Or then somebody may be looking into, okay, you know, I really think I need to invest in Cherry Street and what they're doing, sometimes in certain areas and then sometimes just in helping us run our day-to-day apps.
No question. Well, you know, as you're watching today's show, you're tuning into Straight Line, and Linda Cunning, our Vice President of Philanthropy at Cherry Street Mission Ministries, is on stage with us today, and we're talking about message and fundraising. Particularly, Linda, we're talking about messaging, and that message really is the gospel of Jesus Christ. I will tell you that you can find all you want to know by Cherry Street by the numbers by simply going to our website at cherrystreetmission.org. There you can find our efforts in philanthropy. You can request a 990. You can request one of our audits. You can even just give me a call or drop me a line at danrogers@cherrystreetmission.org. I'll tell you all about it. But you know, I'll tell you right now, you know, through your efforts, we raise, through your efforts, about $4.2 million in annual giving every year. And we spend every dime of that because of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and raise another $2 million in gift in kind. Everything from vehicles to clothing to furniture to food, things that you know, we need every single day, and you have been phenomenal at providing. So Cherry Street by the numbers, you know, we are able to provide services to nearly 2,000 men and women a night. I mean, throughout the year, not a night, that would be a lot, but more than nearly 2,000 men and women every year. Hundreds, nearly 1,000 meals a day, medical clinic, education, career training. You know, this has become the A to Z expression of the body of Christ at Cherry Street. So as you're watching today, I want you to understand that we you know, money is involved, of course, you know, because, you know, money is needed. But, you know, Linda, I talked at the beginning of the show about the Good Samaritan. You know, the 5 things that the Good Samaritan did. And by the way, this is Jesus telling the story. We're not even making this up. Money was the very last thing. Don't you think that's important? I mean, it wasn't like he dismounted and threw some money on this guy's chest and said, okay, now there you go. I mean, get up and go spend the money, you'll be fine. I mean, it literally was the last thing. And how important it is for your daily work. Can you tell our viewers to orient yourself around the simple principles of the Good Samaritan?
Yeah, I really believe in that, is that as I am coming, if I am a potential supporter of Cherry Street, and I'm coming, there are needs that I have in my life. There are areas that I need healing, that I need somebody to walk alongside me. And so what's great about you and I, Dan, is we get to walk alongside our community. If somebody is saying, you know what, I just feel like I need to be part of Cherry Street, we get to help them walk alongside. And as they do that, then we help to discover these great areas that they can volunteer, that they can think about, even on a board level, even on a serving a meal level, even on a teaching level, that we can walk alongside to help their passion that God has put in their heart match with what Cherry Street is doing.
Well, you know, Linda, your counterpart at Cherry Street would be like Charles Allen, our Vice President of Programming. You know, he reaches the battered, the bruised, and the broken every single day. right? So the quintessential guy that's being talked about in the Good Samaritan parable, you know, beaten, bruised, left for dead, half naked, you know, but when we think about donors, Linda, we don't necessarily think about them in that context, but you and I don't think that way.
That's right.
Do we?
We
Because
know
how many bruised, battered, and
Yes.
left for dead donors
We see
have you
that
encountered?
often. We see. I always remember a husband and wife. They were a pillar of hope of ours, and they were going through a terrible time in their life, and they needed somebody to step in, and I was able to step in, brought flowers, and sat down and was able to pray with them. And what's interesting is they ended up a year later increasing their Pillar of Hope. That's their monthly giving. That's our monthly giving program. But they were able to increase it, and I think it was because they just felt like they weren't alone during a very hard time. But I've had so many encounters with great donors of ours, if you don't mind me sharing.
No, please. I mean, tell us the story of redemption from donors, because a lot of people, again, you know, don't think, well, you know, donors, you know, people that give money, you know, which, by the way, is probably every person watching today, don't really need help. Boy, that's just not true.
I can't tell you. In fact, this last year, there's been a lot of prayer requests for me, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to pray
tell
with
us the story. What are some of the things that would encourage people today in terms of how Cherry Street, through the efforts of philanthropy, reaches people, even donors?
I love it because our donors are really, I'd say, our supporters. So some people call them donors, but I really say they support us, and I support them. So we have over at Sparrow's Nest, I couldn't think of the name, over at Sparrow's Nest, they help me sometimes make cards for our guests so they can see that we are very grateful for what they do.
Okay.
And because of that, it gives me an avenue to talk with our supporters about what Cherry Street can do for them. So sometimes we pray over the phone. Sometimes I take people out to visit that we can talk in person. Of course, I have some clinical background, and so I'm able to minister the gospel in the best way for our supporters.
Okay.
But my life has changed just as much as our donors. So I think about the Nelsons. So the Nelsons are owners of a farm here in Northwest Ohio, and they have changed my life. They're Mom and Dad Nelson, to be honest. That's what I call them.
Is this them?
This is them.
Okay.
This is I love
And
them.
if I
love
remember,
them.
you've been up in this tractor.
I have been in the tractor, yes. And I have gone to every field that they own. And what's great about them is he was a businessman and retired, and they bought a farm.
No kidding.
Oh my goodness. And so you talk about going
This is like the Green Acre story.
It is. It's exactly it.
Okay.
But they are such good people that love Christ, live for God, and they have wrapped me in their arms. So not only did I get to minister to them, but they have ministered greatly to me.
Okay.
I think about even our sponsor here with Toledo Clinic. Christopher and Delia Perry are wonderful people, and I've really cherished her friendship. She's just a great woman, and they very great Christian people, and they've just been wonderful for me, as well as you know, I get to minister to them, they minister to me.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, we've talked on this show about a wide range of topics, from pornography to homosexuality to drug addiction to alcoholism, and I don't think any of those topics get as much squirm sometimes out of our viewers than when we start talking about money. Why is that? What's the big taboo, do you think? What's the barrier that we struggle to get over when we talk about money? Is it that we're afraid, Linda, that there'll be abuse? Is it afraid that too much money is being provided? What's the fear?
Yeah, I think people are afraid that they put their heart and soul within what they're giving, and maybe the organization won't give it back. And that's one thing I love about Cherry Street is that we are so integritous. Is that a word? Integritous?
Integritous? Let's make it a word.
Okay.
Yeah.
But full of integrity with what we do. We're very responsible. And that's another thing I get to do is report back then to our donor of what we're doing. And the other thing is that people don't realize that the money that God gives them is a tool. So it's a tool both for you personally and then a tool for the gospel. And that's what I love about people who give to Cherry Street really realize that this really is a tool for us to help others.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, the fact of the matter is, my brothers and sisters, as you watch today's show, money in the Good Samaritan parable was the last thing that he did, but it was necessary. He gave the innkeeper money and said, listen, continue this work of redemption, this work of restoration. And when I return, if more is needed, I will pay at that time. You know, Linda, that's what I believe our donors do every single day. They are the Good Samaritan. They bring us many times physically. Moms and dads will call and say, I need to bring you my son. I need to bring you my daughter. I've had people that have said, I need to bring my neighbor or my neighbor's kid. I get calls, you get calls. Hey, Dan, hey, Linda, I'm a donor of Cherry Street Mission Ministries, and I have somebody in trouble that's at work, that's a son of my secretary, the son of my boss. And they are to us the good Samaritan. They mount them, and they bring them. You know, they bring them on in the way that they've cared for them, but they know that that they need help, and that is what I think is really matters when we think about what does it take for all of us to see redemption really increase for our community. How does that work on your end? How does the donation, large or small, by the way, certainly doesn't matter, right?
Right.
How does that increase redemption at Cherry Street?
Well, it gives it's an avenue. So it gives us an avenue to work with our guests in the best way possible. You have to understand that what may work for you in redemption may be a different way for me. And so that's why when we have multiple streams of donors giving to us, it really helps us then to serve the best. So it may be a meal that brings you to hear the gospel. It may bring maybe I'm trying to think of a good one. Maybe a job training that is what you need for redemption to start happening. Maybe you just need one of our chaplains to sit with you and you realize, oh my goodness, I'm not alone in this world. So because our donors give to us, we're able to provide those multiple streams of ways of redemption. Yeah,
no question about it. Well, Linda, you know, you do tremendous work. I love to watch the way that you are around people that financially support Cherry Street, and I love the way that they are around you. What is the thing that just pushes you out the door every day that just turns your crank?
Do you know that when I look into somebody's eyes, I can see Christ in them, and so I get to see all the different characters of Christ every time I look at somebody.
Okay.
So the more people I get to touch, the more donors I get to see and visit and talk to and take to lunch and visit at an event, the more I get to see the love of Christ.
Oh, that's great. Well, you have been watching Linda Cunning, our Vice President of Cherry Street Mission Ministry, Vice President of Philanthropy at Cherry Street. Linda, thanks so much for being on the show today and for helping our viewers understand the connectivity to the dollar that is given and the life that is changed.
Thank you.
In the meantime, why don't we watch how your support, prayerfully, financially, and volunteer-wise, does the great work of changing lives at Cherry Street.
You know, Cherry Street Mission Ministries from 1947 until this very day has always been about people. People like you, people that come through our doors for a wide range of reasons. So when you financially and prayerfully support Cherry Street, you are actually making an investment in life revitalization. And I think one of the cool things about that is we're all about revitalizing and transforming every life that comes through one of our doors, no matter what the reason. That's the great thing about your support and your investment of Cherry Street, is the way that lives are transformed and changed.
You know, isn't it funny, Del Rey, that when we talk about funds and money and support, that we get squeamish. You know, we can talk about homosexuality and drug addiction all day long, but when we talk about money, there's something really personal about it, you know, that touches us all. As you're watching today's show with Linda Cunning, our Vice President of Philanthropy, what was hitting you the best?
I love her passion for people. I mean, she just
Yeah,
really
it's really evident.
loves people, and I just love that Cherry Street lets us love people in such a different way than, you know, so much in life. I mean, we're talking about money, but yeah, we're talking about something bigger, the people that have the money. I mean, that's what matters, the people. I mean, we are just such a people organization. It's awesome.
Well, you know, I can't tell you how many times over the last 13 years that I've been at Cherry Street where I've had this great conversation, and I mean, it happens all the time. This great conversation with people that have given us $10. And they've said to me, you know, Dan, it's not enough. It's all I have. It's, you know, and I say to them, oh my gosh, you know, I mean, there just isn't anything relative to size that matters. People matter, you matter, and your gift matters. Even to people that have stood with me, cried, and said, you know what, giving to Cherry Street changes my life. It allows me to see God in my life. It gives me hope. And that's really what Cherry Street Mission Ministries is all about. It is changing and impacting lives for all people. You heard Linda say it, right? We serve all who come to us. Now, when you hear that as a Christian worker at Cherry Street, what goes through your mind in your daily work?
You know, of course, when we say we serve all, a lot of people think that we might mean all of our guests. When I first started at Cherry Street, that's kind of what I thought. It was like, oh, we serve everyone that comes to us as a guest. But, you know, I was served as a volunteer.
Yes,
Our
you were.
donors are served every day. I mean, it's amazing. And like you said, it doesn't matter if it's $1, $10, $100. I mean, it all matters.
It does matter. And I am with Del Rey. My life's been changed at Cherry Street. Her life has been changed at Cherry Street. If you're watching today, I'll bet your life has as well. Or if it hasn't been, I'll bet you want it to change through your financial support, your prayerful support, and your volunteering at Cherry Street. Why don't you go to cherrystreetmission.org and click on that How Can I Help button, and a whole world of opportunity is going to open right out in front of you. There you can learn to volunteer. There you can fill out a volunteer application. Certainly there you can drop me a line and say, Dan, I'm praying for you today. I'm praying for your team. I'm praying for the volunteers and the donors, and I'm certainly praying for the thousands of guests that will arrive at one of our doors this month. And when you do that, oh my gosh, we'll be so grateful that you drop us a line, and certainly financially support your local hometown mission as well, as Del Rey does, and her husband and my wife do, and I do. This is a great opportunity for us to participate locally and to say, in our backyard, Del Rey, there is going to be a redemption solution. And that's Cherry Street Mission Ministries.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful that Linda could come out and talk with us today.
I am too. Yeah, no question about it. She's very enthusiastic with her work.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
And she's such a blessing to us.
She is, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.